A very good morning to all the students of class 11th political science. And students, welcome back to the online classes here. As you had already finished your term exams, and in the last video I had given you certain guidelines and instructions that how you have to prepare your project work. So you need to watch that video very carefully, and accordingly you have to prepare your project report. And the topics I have already assigned to you individually, I have written your names over there, so see it properly. So today we shall be starting the chapter number 8 of our book, the local government. So this topic is not new to you. This topic you have been studying since class 6th, but in this we shall be studying it at the advanced level. But before we move forward, I will take a quick revision of this particular topic so that it will be easy for you to relate the topic with the current content of class 11th. So I will use your past knowledge and correlate it with the present situation or the present content of your book here. So the topic is local government. So by this word local government, I hope that you know what do we mean by local government and what is the importance of local government in a country like India, which is one of the biggest democracies in the world. So I will start with the introduction which is given in your book, and this is a very nice introduction. See, in a democracy, it is not sufficient to have an elected government at the center and the state level. As we know, in our country, there are two levels of government, at the central level and the state level. As just after independence, we were not having the local government. It only came into existence officially or according to the constitution after 1992. So in the beginning, we were only having the government at the central level and the state level. So it was not sufficient, especially in a country which is the biggest democracy in the world, that is India, having so much of a diversity. So there was a very much urgent need to have a local governing or the local government which could handle the issues of the local people. So we can call it the grassroots level government. It is also necessary that even at the local level there should be an elected government. So it was felt and it was very necessary that at the local level also there should be a elected government, and this elected government at the local level is only called local government. And what is the purpose? To look after local affairs, because state governments and central government is not going to come and address the local affairs relating to basic needs of water, electricity, or roads or transport. These are some of the basic necessities and importance to each and every person living in that local area. So it was very much important to have a elected local government who could look into or the address the local affairs, as state and central governments were not are not going to come to the local areas and see the problems of the people. So at this point of time, local government plays an important role. In this chapter you will study the structure of local government in our country. So in this complete chapter we are going to study the structure and functioning of the local government in our country, and we will also see some of the important amendments in the constitution empowering the local governments, increasing the subjects or the functions of local government which used to be with the state government previously. So you will also study the importance of local government and ways to give them independent powers. So we'll study the importance of local government, what is the role and importance of local government in the life of a common people. Okay, and also we'll say why it is important to have an independent power, or why we should give some authority and jurisdiction to local government. So after studying this chapter, we will be able to understand the importance of local government bodies. I hope you already know the importance of local government bodies, as this topic has been started since class 6th, when you studied about local government for the very first time. So you must be very much aware about it, I hope. Second is, this is a new topic which we will do, and according to the new revised syllabus, this is only the topic which we have to cover in this chapter, that is the provisions or the constitutional amendments made by the 73rd and 74th amendments. So there are 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments for the local governments, in which various independent powers and jurisdictions have been given to local government which used to be with the state government previously. So we are going to study this topic particularly in this chapter, although I am discussing the introduction part also because I want to revise this chapter, as according to the new syllabus, we have to do only this topic, the provision made by 73rd and 74 amendments. But I will also discuss about the importance of the local government bodies and functions and responsibilities of local government bodies, because it is very much important to study these 2 points in case we have to understand the amendments brought by the 73rd and 74th amendments of the constitution. So let's revise now. Local government is a government at the village and the district level. So we very well know local government is the only government when we see it at the village level or the district level. Local government is about government closest to common people. So importance of local government is it is closest to common people, where common people directly participate in the functioning of the plans and policies for themselves through local government. So local government is about government that involves the day-to-day life and problems of ordinary citizens. So local government is the government which involves day-to-day life. I told you about the basic facilities or the basic imminence or the problems of people that is addressed by the local government. Okay, that is why it's written day-to-day life and problems of ordinary citizens. Local government believes that local knowledge and local interests are essential integrants for democratic decision making. They are also necessary for efficient and people-friendly administration. So these are some of the advantages of local government, where local government believes, people also believe that local knowledge, the local knowledge and local interest, this can be only be known by the local government. The state government and the central government cannot have the knowledge and the interest of the local people of a particular village, but this can be easily understood by the local government. And these local government are the elected members by the people of these village or district. So we can say that the advantage of the local government is that it is so near to the people. So it is very, this local government is very close to the people. So people, whatever plans, policies they want, or whatever the problems they are facing, they can easily address to the local government, because they are very close to the people. Here people directly participate in the functioning of the local government. Okay, again some advantages of local government you can see here. It is necessary that in a democracy, so it is very important in a democracy, tasks which can be performed locally should be left in the hands of the local people. So they are saying at the local level, the tasks, the developmental work should be, and the decision making should be left with the local people and their representatives. These representatives are the members of local government, the elected members. So common people are more familiar, because these representatives will be common people and they will be more familiar with the problems of the local people, so which a central government and a state government cannot understand. So to address the problems of the local villages or the people of the district, it is important to have the common people acting as the representatives of the local government. That is why it's written here, common people are more familiar with the local government than with the government at the state or the national level. They are also more concerned with what local government does or has failed to do, as it has a direct bearing and impact on their day-to-day life. This is a very important line, you can see it here. Thus, strengthening local government is like strengthening democratic process. So if you have to strengthen the democratic country like India, we have to bring pure democracy to India. It is very important to give representation to the local people through local government. So the more powers and functions are given to the local government after 1992, so that we can strengthen our democratic processes. So here I have a small diagrammatic presentation for you, so that you can easily understand the functioning of the local government and what is the importance of local government, and also the division and patterns of local government at the rural area as well as at the urban areas. So first of all, starting with here, as you know, India is a federal country where there is a, we can say, division of power or separation of power, or there are different subjects on which central government and state government make laws and rules, plans and policies. So here central government and state government mostly make laws and policies on about schools, hospitals, public transports like railways, airport, highways, road safety rules, etc. So these are some of the central topics or the address which central government and the state government have to address for most of the major population. But here there are some problems at the local levels, like relating to water shortage, water pollution, sewage problem, road transport problem, electricity, cleanliness. These are some of the problems on which central government and state government cannot directly come to the local area and address the issues. So address the local issues, local problems of the people, it is important to have a local government. Okay, so the role of central government and state government is vast, looking into the various policies which are of importance to the whole nation. But when we are talking about a local government or the local area, it is important to have a local government, so that we can have some representatives who can address our issues related to water facilities, cleanliness, or sewage problems, electricity, or roads, etc. So these are the some of the problems for which we have our local government. So what are the local government motives? What are the main motives or the objectives, we can say, of the government? First is political decentralization, where we want that there should be division of powers between central government, state government, and local government. Okay, although the major power is in the hands of central government, but there is to be given some, there should be decentralization of powers and functions, as we have seen in the state list, union list, concurrent list, residual list. These are some lists in which there are various subjects which are relating to the central government, state government, and the local government. So in this way, various subjects are given in the various lists on which various governments had to take actions. Plus, the important role of local government is that we can see the direct democracy in the local government, where people directly participate in the plans, policies of their whatever the policies they want for themselves. They are the ones who participate and vote. As we have seen the villages, there is panchayati raj, there are panchayats, there are sarpanch. So people are like, you have read about gram sabhas. Okay, so where people directly participate in the plans and policies for themselves. Now here it is important for you to understand, many students are always confused about the local governments. So these are the two type of local governments, panchayati raj and municipalities. So it make it very clear to your mind that panchayati raj is a form of local government which is there in the rural areas. You can see this. So in the rural areas or the village areas, we have panchayati raj. But when we are talking about the more developed cities or the urban areas where there is industrialization and activities other than agriculture, these are called municipalities. So panchayati raj is also a local government, and municipality is also a type of local government. But the difference is, this is in the rural area and this is in the urban areas, and the function of both the local government is same. They look after the electricity, water problem, roads, cleanliness. These are the functions of both the local governments. Plus, it is also important that whatever the policies which are brought by the state government and the central government, those are implemented to the local areas or to the villages or districts or the cities by these two governments. So it is also the responsibility of panchayati raj at the rural area and municipalities at the urban areas to implement the plan or enforce the policies of the government. As you can see from the diagram, this is a village, and the people from this village, those are 18 years above, are the members of panchayat, and these are called gram sabha, people who are eligible to vote, that is above 18 years, and this is called panchayati raj. Okay, and this panchayati raj, or about the panchayat, it has been mentioned in article 40 of the constitution, but it was only mentioned, it was not given in detail, or it was not being given some extra powers which can be implemented to the local governments. But after the amendment of 1992, that is the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, various powers, independent powers, were given to the panchayats at the local level also, which we shall be studying in the topic when we will be taking 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment. So Panchayati Raj has two parts, legislative and executive. Let's see what do you mean by legislative and executive. So when we are talking about the Panchayati Raj, under legislative, all the people who are of 18 years plus and are the member of that village are called the members of Gram Sabha. Okay, and here this is a village, and all the people of this village who are 18 years and above have the right to vote or give vote for the formation of their representative at the panchayat. So this village according to the population are divided into wards. So each village according or depending on to the population of that village is divided into wards, or we can also say constituencies when we are talking about the central government. So we are call it constituencies. In the same way here they are the village is divided into wards relating to the population, and from each ward one panch is elected, and these panch are mostly around 15 to 20 or 5 to 20 maximum depending on the population of that village. So from each ward one panch is elected, and this panch can be from 5 to 20, but these 5 to 20 members of panch will be depending on the population of that village. And again the gram sabha or the people of the village will elect the sarpanch. Okay, so this sarpanch is the head of the village, we can say, and under him these panch who are the members who represent the wards, individual wards of a particular village. Okay, and there at the when we talk about the executive, this is legislature. When we talk about the executive part, gram panchayat, and this gram panchayat, these are the gram panchayat who are elected by the gram sabha, or these panch sarpanch, these are called gram panchayat also. And there is also one secretary appointed by the state government who observes and see to the functioning of the gram panchayat or panchayati raj. This you have already have all these you have read in the junior classes. I am just revising it quickly. Working of the gram panchayat, you know, at the village level there is sarpanch who has been elected by the gram sabha. Okay, there are panch who had been elected from each ward. These gram sabha have elected their panch also, and they have elected their sarpanch also. So now every year 4 times at least in a year there is a gram sabha meeting, and in this meeting all the developmental programs and different policies of the government are being discussed. Any problems of the citizens I'm saying members of that village or the members of gram sabha, they discuss their problems relating to various plans, policies which are put forward by the government, or the schemes of the government which are not being benefited to the people of that village. So all this is discussed here: water problems, roads, electricity. So all the developmental and basic necessities and the problems are discussed in these meetings of gram sabha, whose head is sarpanch. Various powers are given to the sarpanch which he can functions within the village. So his powers are limited only to the village territory. Now beyond the village, at the second level is the panchayat samiti. We were talking about the at the gram sabha or the panchayats. Then we have panchayat samitis. It means block. We also call it block panchayat or janpad panchayat. And like we were talking about the only one village previously, now 1 2 3 4 5, like a bundle or the bunch of some villages, they form a block. Okay, and who are the members of this block? All the sarpanch of these villages, like 1 2 3 4 5 6, there are 6 villages in this panchayat samiti. It means all the sarpanch of these 6 villages. Okay, BDOs, farmers representatives, corporate society representatives, agricultural market service representative, etc. These all are the members of panchayat samiti. And panchayat samiti means at a particular area there are many villages, so all these villages form a group to form a panchayat samiti. Okay, then when we talk about the district level, or we call it Jila Parishad, and under this we can say Jila Parishad, or we also call district panchayat. So this is the diagram. You can see central government, state government. At district level Jila Parishad, blocks we can call it panchayat samiti, and at the base level we have panchayat at the village level. This is at the block level, this is at the district level, then state government, central government. So when we are talking about the districts, it is we can say ruled or the controlled by the administration is under the officer, IAS officer, state public service officer. Okay, and its member are block pramukh, MLAs, MPs, etc. Block pramukh is the elected. All the sarpanch, BDOs, all these members elect a single member who is called the head, and this head is block pramukh of panchayat samiti. So this head of this block pramukh is also the member of Jila Parishad here. So now talking about the urban areas. So local government at the urban areas, we call them municipalities. This was also given the independent powers only by the 74 constitutional amendment in 1992. So there are always a confusion regarding Nagar Panchayat at the city council, Nagar Parishad, municipal council, which we call Nagar Palika, and municipal corporation, Mahanagar. In the very cities, mega cities, big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, we call them Mahanagar Palika or Nagar Nigam. At the small cities, we call them Nagar Palika Parishad, and at the areas connecting village and cities, it is called Nagar Parishad. So you need to remember their names. So structure of municipalities. So what is the structure? Here all the people of that particular municipality or for that city who are above the age of 18 years, they all vote, and that city is also divided into the different wards depending upon the population of that city or area. From each ward, a parishad or individual is being elected, and when all the parishads from all the wards, they form a ward committee. So all these are the elected parishads from different wards, and they form a ward committee, and all these members, they vote and elect a mayor who is the head of the legislative, okay, elected member councillors. This is the legislative part. And executive part, you can say municipal commissioner is the head of the executive, municipal officer, etc. Municipal corporation, IS officer runs this Nagar Panchayat. As you can see, structure of PRI, structure of Panchayati Raj institution in India. This is the, if we talk about the local government, this is the structure of the local government, that is Panchayati Raj institution. So when we are reading about the, at village level, we read about the Gram Panchayat functioning, at of their functioning and powers. At block level we have Panchayat Samiti, at district level we have Jila Parishad, and all these three when come together, when they are consolidated together, they are called structure of PRI in India, okay, Panchayati Raj institution in India. So with this we come to the introduction part of this chapter, where I have discussed some revision work for you so that you can relate the topic when we will study about the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment in the next video. So you must be aware of the basic important knowledge about the local governments in India. So in the next video I shall be taking up the 73rd Amendment Act for the local governments. Till then, thank you.